Okay, so I've got my Air Stage Fujiryu 6.4 in the 410 length. Like a dog's barking, echoing over there. Someone's probably camped. And I've got a 16-foot furled bright high-vis line. It's from Dragontail. And I've got basically a jumbo gravedigger kabari. So let's see what we can do here at this lake. Normally, if the sun is shining and stuff, you'd be able to sight fish and see them. But it's overcast at the moment, so. And now the wind's picking up. It was nice when I first got here. I like to start off just with a, oop, there we go. Oh, that was a nice cutthroat. He came up from the bottom, sucked it in. He just didn't have it all the way in his mouth yet. I like to start off just with an unweighted one and just kind of fishing like this. If not getting any luck, I'll try, moving the fly, and if I don't get any luck with that, I'll try to put on an indicator and use some different style and types of flies. But now the wind's blowing right in my face, so it's blowing the line right at me. Darn it, missed that nice one. I'm gonna leave the part of the line on the water just a little bit to anchor it a little better. It's just gonna be hard to spot a take. Let's try over off this other side here a little bit. It's a deep drop off right here off this rock face. So it's a good place for fish to hang and cruise. There's one. Saw the flash of white on the take. Got to get him over here where I can land it. Oh, I forgot my net. Doesn't look like a real big fish. In fact, it's a fairly small fish for the lake. Come here. It's not too bad, I guess. Definitely come a lot bigger than that in this lake. But it gets us on the board in the first fish with this new rod. There we go. Cute little fish. Let's see if we can go get a big version of that. I think that first one that got away was significantly bigger than that one. Again, I'm trying to leave part of the line on the water just to anchor it from the wind while it's blowing. I've got a extra long tippet on, probably in that 6-7 foot range, maybe even a little further. Yeah, so probably a little more than that. Oh, one followed it in. So that way I can leave the tip on the water and still keep the fly far enough away where it doesn't spook them. You have to watch it all the way in because they love to follow it right up to the end. And then as you're raising it, it's like they panic all of a sudden and decide they want to eat it. Just triggers a response from them, so you have to be ready. Alright, so I switched to a UV green yarn body with a black soft hackle. Again, more of a fly I use a lot in rivers and streams. But we'll see what we can do here. At least we're seeing some fish now compared to the other spot I was at. There we go. That little guy. Long line I've got on. The line itself is several feet longer than my rod, and then I've got an extra long tippet on. Oh, stop. There we go. Little guy. Let's try that again. With lakes, it's always kind of a trial and error. Some people, they're intimidating at first. You know, you learn outlets and inlets, and then you start looking for certain shoreline features and color of the water and just fish activity in general. And sometimes you just got to move around, try different things, different techniques in different spots and different depths. So once you figure them out for a given place or time of day, then you can usually, there's one, you can usually do pretty good. But it takes some time because it's easy to read rivers and know where the good holding water is and all that kind of stuff and the depth. But lakes, it's a little bit different. And until you spend some time on them, it's kind of hard. A little different with Tenkara, I guess. You're kind of limited on your reach and stuff. But still some of the same principles apply. And I carry a floating line, a little cut. I carry a floating line with me in case I want to put on an indicator or things like that, and or reach out further. I've got both the 4-meter and the 7-meter floating line from Daiwa. But as long as I can catch them without, it's a lot more fun without using indicators and stuff. There's a couple general flies other than this, the Tenkara flies, but I mean a couple specific flies that work well on lakes that I always try. A leech, whether I'm stripping it or a balanced leech under an indicator, or chironomids, which are just midge pupa. You can never go wrong with those. There was one. You can never go wrong with those two things. There's always lakes, and there's in lakes there's always midges and always leeches, so they're used to seeing them and eating them year round for the most part. It's beautiful. There's a few lakes right up over that saddle there. A couple more lakes that are fun to fish, and on any given year, one lake will have better fish than the others. So far from what I'm seeing, other than that one that I lost in this spot, they've been fairly small, so it's very dependent on the stocking cycle. They usually stock them every 8 years for the ones they do stock. And then of course if you have some natural reproduction, so you get some of different sizes, but they're usually pretty consistent. Okay, so I'm going to change up my rig here. I'm going to use two, sometimes called chironomids, midge pupa, different colors, shininess. One's got tungsten, one's got brass for no particular reason. And then I've got an indicator on. So what I did is I just put it simply at the end of the indicator on the end of my high vis line. Kind of help me anchor it as well as keep it off the water as much as possible, but the flies are going to be 8 feet below anyway, so it shouldn't matter too much. But let's just see what happens here. This is kind of an old, you know, go-to standby lake type fish with the chironomids. Like I said, they're in the water year-round. They're used to eating them. They hatch in great numbers. So when there is a hatch, man, they're just everywhere. They're the things you think are mosquitoes, but they don't bite. And the fish just love them when they're coming up. And you have to adjust the, you know, the location of the indicator just to get the depth that you want and things like that. But I'm just winging it right now, just trying to get something going. All right, so I did lose my bottom fly on a snag, so I replaced it as well as moved the indicator so it's not as deep, since I had too much line out, which if they're dragging on the bottom is a good reason why you're gonna be difficult to catch fish at that point. Now I could put on my floating line as well if I wanted to. There we go, have the indicator way out there. But that's what my problem was. I had the wrong depth on set up, so I was probably dragging bottom and they couldn't see the flies anyways. So let's see what they took. I did put a different, yeah, and it went for the new fly. So it's a red one. They call it a bloodworm, which is basically when they're those insects are right down in the mud and they collect hemoglobin because of low oxygen, and they get red. So that's a little baby. There we go, tiny little thing. But it's a fish, and it's another way of doing it. There we go. There's that fly I was talking about. It's just basically a red zebra midge with a little red tail of marabou on it. So that's usually can be a very effective fly also. Let's see if we're onto something or if it was just a fluke. Oh, a fish jumped at my indicator. They do that a lot. Usually I like to put white ones on, but I thought it might be a little easier to see on the camera. There we go. I saw it starting to twitch. It also took the bottom fly, that red bloodworm, another little guy. Come here. That's a decent one there. It wasn't as small as I thought at first glance. They still come a lot bigger than this, but it's a cute fish. All right, so I'm just going to slowly work my way back. I shortened up the line a little bit because it's not as deep over here, but I'm just going to try a couple casts in each good looking spot and work my way back around to the outlet and see what happens here. There we go. Ooh, that one looked better. It's hard to tell with the surface disturbance. Looks like it's a bigger fish the way it's fighting. Oh, get in there. There we go. Also went for that red bloodworm. A little bit better. They come a lot nicer than that in here, but that's not too bad. A little bit better. Oh, there he goes. All right, so I'm working my way back to the outlet over there. I can see a couple people. And I look down in the water and I saw a couple small fish. So I thought I'd try this bloodworm a couple times here. Oh, here comes another one from the right. Oh, now I can't see it because of the sun. There he is. There we go. That's what I wanted. You just gotta wait till they come by. Oh, now there's like 3 or 4 of them down there. I'm trying to figure out what this guy's problem is. There we go. Little cutthroat. All right. Since those other couple were down there. Oh, there's 2 big ones going after right at my indicator. There, I got one. They were getting the fly, chasing the fly as it was sinking still. Yeah, this one's not big. It's even smaller than the last one. That water sure makes them look big. Must have been the other one. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. There we go. Oh! Looked just like the last one, but smaller. There we go. Easy, easy, easy. Come on. There we go. There it is. Last fish of the day. Well, everybody, hope you enjoyed that. A little bit different than what I've been doing so far. Now that the roads are open and trailheads, I can start getting a little more hiking in. But I've got 6 miles to get out of here and then another 2-hour drive to get home. So wind's picking up, clouds are moving in, so it's time for me to bug out, but I will see you down the trail.